And Mr. Howard, back in October of 2022, where were you living?
Sahaley Way, 5535. Sahaley Way.
And is that in the Hedingham neighborhood?
Yes.
How long had you lived there?
About 3 years at that time.
Okay. Who lived with you? Can you tell us what your situation was there?
Yes, it was me, my wife, and her brother, and Sammy.
And who was Sammy?
Sammy is the dog, our pet, a family member.
Okay. I think we've heard him described. Was it a he or a
she?
Her? She.
Yes.
We've heard her described as a fur baby.
Yes.
Do you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay. And who were you? Who was your wife at that time?
Nicole Connors.
And how long had y'all been together?
I think we were married. Just had our 5th anniversary.
Okay. Can you tell us what brought you to that location, to that Hedingham neighborhood home?
Well, I was in charge of finding the place while Nicole, she was still in Ohio. She hadn't moved down here yet. She put me in charge of finding the place.
Okay.
So I searched around and I came across the Hedingham neighborhood. I thought it was a nice neighborhood. I seen, a lot of people walking their dogs, so I thought that would be perfect for her. And I just seemed like a nice neighborhood.
Okay. And those 3 years that you were living there, did it seem like a nice neighborhood to you?
Yes.
During on October 13th, well, I'll back up. You just heard from Miss Gardner. Did you know her back then?
Yes.
And how did you get to know her?
I basically met her through Nicole, I believe. I don't remember the meeting, but I believe I met her through Nicole.
Okay. And we've heard Miss Gardner, talk about walking the fur babies.
Yes.
Was that something that happened fairly regularly?
Every day, 3, 4, 5 times a day.
Did you ever partake, or was that
every now and then? Sammy, she wouldn't let anybody else walk her. She used to let just her mother.
Okay, she's partial to Nicole.
Yes.
Okay. On October 13th of 2022, do you remember Miss Gardner and Nicole getting ready to go for a walk?
No.
Okay. Tell us what you were up to that day.
While they were out at dinner, I decided to go to the store, pick up a few things for my lunch for work that night. And I needed to stop at the hardware store and pick up some light bulbs.
Okay. So you knew that they had gone out to lunch for the birthday dinner?
Yes.
How long did y'all leave at the same time, or?
No, they left there probably about an hour before I did.
And about how long were you gone, if you remember?
I would say probably about an hour, because it took me a while to find the light bulbs that I wanted. So I was back and forth in Lowe's.
Okay.
So it was about an hour.
Okay. While you were out running these errands, did you have any communication with Nicole at all?
Not while I was running the errands. She texted me, but I didn't receive it. I didn't hear the text. I didn't hear my phone buzz. I must have, in Lowe's, I must have not heard it. But that was, she texted me, she called me before, she called me while they were on their way to the restaurant to let me know that a package had arrived for me.
Okay. When you were done running these errands, can you tell us what happened next?
Well, after I finally found everything I needed, I arrived, I pulled up the street. I pulled in the driveway. I seen Lynn laying on the sidewalk. I didn't recognize her at first. So I turned to go run in the house to get in the code to see if she knew what was going on. But as soon as I turned towards the door, I seen Sammy laying there. And she was bleeding.
Where was Sammy?
On the porch.
And where was that in relation to where you saw Lynn?
Basically, straight ahead. As soon as I turned to my right, I was facing the porch, and I seen Sammy there.
And what was, I think you mentioned Sammy was bleeding. What was Sammy's condition?
Sammy, she was bleeding from the mouth. I could tell she was no longer alive.
What else did you see when you got there?
So I walked up to the porch, and I looked to my left and I seen Nicole. I couldn't see her from the sidewalk because the bushes were hiding. And I seen Nicole laying on the porch, and she looked like she was mortally wounded also.
What was it that made you think that?
I could tell by her eyes that she was no longer with us.
Was there anything else around her, or?
Basically, we had some plants that were on the porch. They were strewn over the place. They were strewn through the yard, and the table was knocked over. The patio table was knocked over. Chairs were knocked over. So.
Once you saw that, what did you do?
I kind of panicked, man. I didn't want to touch anything. I just didn't know what was going on. I didn't want to walk through the front door because I kind of figured, I thought maybe it was, a robber, burglar or something. So I turned and I was going to go through the garage door, go through the house to the garage. But as I got to the garage, I seen her brother walk to the house.
Okay.
And I figured if anyone was in there, they would have seen him in there. So I figured there was no one in the house.
Did you have a conversation about what was going on?
I just asked him, what was going on? I asked him what was going on. He said he didn't hear anything. He didn't know what was going on. He didn't hear anything. I told him that I believe Nicole is dead.
What did you do next?
I called 911. And then as I was talking to 911, I went across the street to Lynn's neighbor, Sherry, and asked her, did she see anything? Did she know what was going on?
Now you're talking to us now, and your demeanor is very calm right now. What was your demeanor like? How were you acting then?
I don't remember. I know I was definitely panicked, in disbelief. I couldn't believe what I had seen. I was just I didn't know how to act or how to feel.
When you are on the phone with 911 and you're requesting help, can you talk to us about how that went?
It's been so long, I don't really recall how it really went, but I know that I heard ambulances and the ambulance and the police cars in the background. I figured they were on their way. I don't remember the conversation with the 911 caller, but not long after that, the ambulance arrived.
Was it a little frustrating for you how long it felt like it was taking them to get there?
Yes, it was frustrating, but once the ambulance got there, I was trying to stop them to let them know that this was the house that I called from, but they kept going down the street. But they eventually turned back around and stopped at the house and took care of Lynn and Nicole.
and I hate to go back to this, but when you saw Lynn and Nicole, what type of injuries did you think they had? Did you notice any?
I noticed the gunshot wounds.
Is that something that you had ever seen before?
No, I've never seen nothing like that before. But I could tell they had been shot bad.
So the ambulance arrives. What happens next?
Well, the ambulance arrives and they take Nicole, Lynn, pick them up, take them to the hospital, I believe. I was going to go to the hospital. I was going to follow the ambulance, but at that time the police had arrived and told me that I had to leave the car there. They said it was part of, its evidence now.
Okay.
So,
was there some damage to a car?
To her car, yes, that was parked in the garage. It was damage to her car.
What do you have any idea what kind of damage?
It had, radiator damage, tires had been shot. And
gunshot damage?
Yes.
Okay.
Of course.
Now, when this is all going on, did you have any idea that there was anything else that had happened or was happening in your neighborhood?
I had no idea. I didn't know what was going on. I hadn't heard anything.
So it sounds like you didn't follow the ambulance to the hospital.
No.
So what'd you do?
I talked to a few police officers at that time, Mr. Tripp, I believe, Detective Tripp, and I started just walking around and trying to comprehend what was going on. So I stopped at my neighbor's house across the street and just sat on his porch until he came outside, and he sat out there and talked to me for a while.
And during this time, it sounds like you're trying to just get your head right or calm down. I think you said you spoke to several officers.
Yes.
At some point, and I'm assuming, but when you talk to them, what did you tell them?
I just basically told them what I knew. I just told them, what happened, how I came home and found them. That's all I could tell them.
At some point, then, did you get to the hospital?
Yes. One of the officers came up to me while I was sitting on the porch and told me that my wife was still alive, and asked me could I get to the hospital, and my neighbor, he offered to take me.
What happened once you got to the hospital?
I got to the hospital, and they were doctors told me they were still operating on her. Then so I sat around with the hospital chaplain. She comforted me the whole time I was there. Eventually, they took Lynn to her room and told me that I could go see my wife.
Okay. And when you went to go see, what happened?
When I walked in the room, I immediately said that's not my wife.
It was Lynn.
Yes. I believe it was. I believed it was Lynn. She was unrecognizable at that point.
Did you know at that point then the status of Nicole?
Yes. Because they told me that they asked me, they were asking around. I heard them ask, had anybody else been operated on? They said no. So at that time, I figured that she didn't make it.
And at some point, did someone officially come
Yes.
tell you that?
Yes.
How long were you at the hospital, if you remember, before you actually found that out?
It was maybe five hours, I believe. It was late into the night once they finally told me. It was about 11 o'clock at night when they finally came and told me that I could visit.
And once you found that out, what did you do? Where'd you go?
I walked outside the hospital. I left the chaplain and walked outside the hospital, just walking around. And I was waiting on her sister, her family to get there. They were coming from Charlotte. And not too long after I walked outside, they arrived. And I let them know what happened. And we went back in the hospital, and they took us down to the morgue to view the body.
After that, I imagine you had. Well, did you go back home?
No, we weren't allowed to go back to the house that night. They had everything taped off. So we got a hotel for the night.
Did you eventually get a chance to go back home?
Yes, the next day, around midday, we were allowed to go back home.
Do you still live at that location?
No.
How long after this happened did you move?
I moved in April of 2023 from that residence.
Ms. Gardner mentioned some of the things that, some gatherings of other victims' families that have taken place. Have you taken part in those?
Yes, most of them, yes.
Once you were able to learn more about what had happened, did you realize where the defendant lived compared to you?
Yes, I knew where he lived. Yes.
Did you know him before this happened?
Not really, no.
Have you had any interaction with him?
When I would see him walking to and from the bus stop, and I might speak to him every now and then. Usually, no reaction.
And so just so the court knows, where in relation to your house did he live?
2 doors down from me.
Mr. Howard, I know that this has had a huge impact on you. What would you like the court to know about how this incident has impacted you and your loved ones since October 13th of 2022?
Well, this Austin's actions, broken me. I don't enjoy I don't enjoy the things that I used to do. I feel socially awkward now. I don't like to go anywhere. Because I feel guilty about having fun without my wife. It's left me emotionally, financially. Left me unstable. Thank you. I plan on saying a lot up here, but I can't get through it.
Thank you for what you have said, Your Honor. No further questions.
Questions?
No, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Mr. Jones.